right, well, welcome. Thank you for being here this evening. We are excited to bring to you information about Ohio State Mansfield and engineering technologies. This evening, as we start off with Ohio State, we want to make sure that we share our thoughts and our statement as we have here about addressing racism, that as members of the Ohio State University, we condemn anti-Black racism and racism in all its forms, and we are committed to engaging, interrupting, and dismantling institutionalized racist structures. Ohio State's mission to prepare students to be leaders and engaged citizens calls us to demand and support change. If you're interested in learning more about what Ohio State is doing, you can please visit that website, go.osu.edu/addressing racism. All right, this evening, please engage with us anytime along the way. You can ask questions. If you're having some issues with the technology, you can certainly enter that into the chat feature. After I get done talking about admissions and financial aid, I will be moderating the questions and the Q&A in the chat feature there. Please feel free to take pictures of the slides as we go along. There'll be some good information, some web links, some information in there you may want to have later on, some contact information. Please feel free to also take pictures of that along the way. And also, questions will be answered at the end of the presentation, and we will move forward from there. I am Jennifer Fry, the Director of Enrollment Services here from The Ohio State University at Mansfield campus. I will also be joined later on this evening by Mrs. Amber Rader, who is a lecturer here in engineering technology. And we also have students that are within our program, and also very fortunate to have some industry leaders from the Mansfield-Richland County community joining with us as well. So you have lots of experts at your disposal for any of the questions you may have this evening. Here at Ohio State, we provide a comprehensive world-class learning experience inside and outside the classroom. And it's really a university with more than 200 majors and more than 490 academic specializations. And that's only the beginning, from personalizing your academic experience to also outside the classroom. It's a vast opportunity for involvement in research, internships, service learning, with one of our largest philanthropies being the Buckeye-thon, and over 1,400 student organizations, study abroad to all 7 continents, and more. From your very first year on any of our campuses, you get to engage in any of these opportunities that Ohio State has offered to our students. We are an academic powerhouse with those research-oriented faculty that really provide that meaning and that understanding to the concepts that they're learning and teaching you in the classroom as it comes from their own experiences. Many of our faculty are not only nationally known, but also internationally known as they are engaging with other scholars across the world. That commitment to research opportunities starts from day one. As you come in as a first-year student into our programs, you too can engage in research from the very beginning to learn and maybe even fuel your passion for research once you graduate with the bachelor's program. As I said, with those 200+ majors across all fields, from accounting to zoology, you have a vast array of opportunities to choose one major, maybe 2 majors, and specialize with some of those interests that you may have along the way. State-of-the-art technology, labs, and creative spaces. This is really a program that we want to partner with our community members and also with across the state of Ohio to bring us those technology and spaces that will really help our students working together in industry to prepare all of you for your after graduation job that you will take on. So here at Mansfield campus, as we're part of the #1 state ranked public institution for higher education and 17th in the nation for public institutions, here we have 640 acres of woodlands. And our campus itself is really a teaching and research classroom within itself. Within the beauty of our woodlands, it is a diverse ecosystem unique to Richland County. It's bringing students from all campuses to take a few of our biology and ecology classes that we do offer. And this past year, we researched new maple syrup research. So if you drive by and you see some activity going on in the woods there, it's actually the maple syrup research we have been doing. It's also engaging with economics and business as well. We have 12 bachelor degrees here that you can complete all 4 years in. One of those degrees being the engineering technology program that you're here for this evening. Our average class size is going to be around 15, and our student to faculty ratio is 11:1, really offering the opportunity for our students to actively engage with their faculty and fellow students for building those relationships that are really lifelong after graduation. Our student life, you're a member of much more than our campus. You're a member of the community around you, which is Mansfield, Ontario, and also the Richland County. This experience is really uniquely yours. The campus community brings you experiences, events, and opportunities to engage with fellow students, and you will build relationships with others that will last that lifetime. With the over 1,400 student organizations, pretty sure you're going to find a group that you may be a part of. But if you have an idea for a new student organization, grab 2 other friends and also find a fellow faculty or staff member to be a advisor for you, and you can even start your own group. And possibilities are there, from civic to service to political, self-discovery, and beyond. We have housing options here on the Mansfield campus. It is not required to live on campus the first year and on, but we do have university housing at Molliet Village, which you can see in our virtual tours on our website. We also have Buckeye Village. It is a privately owned housing complex that is the same distance to campus as Molliet, and that is also offers the 12-month contracts for our students. So lots of opportunities for you to engage in our community. Diversity, as you bring your unique talents and experiences to Ohio State, you enrich the experiences of those around you. You get to engage with others on levels you will appreciate far into the future. So we invite you to ask questions, actively engage, and take advantage of what is here, plus take advantage of leaving your mark on our community. With these diverse ideas from people just bringing their own unique talents, it is an opportunity to engage with those different from you, and also to engage within the community actively. We have an Office of Diversity and Inclusion with Miss Tiffany Mitchell that we encourage you to be a part of as well. So how do you get to campus? How do you get to be a Buckeye? Well, right here, to have a complete application to Ohio State Mansfield is an online application. The Common App is used for students interested in applying directly to the Columbus campus. Now, for being a resident of the state of Ohio and graduating from an accredited Ohio high school, you are guaranteed admission to the regional campuses of The Ohio State University. So right here at Mansfield, you apply. We know you're going to graduate from that Ohio high school and you are a resident. You are guaranteed to be a Buckeye this fall. We also need your official high school transcripts with your senior schedule. That shows us you're on track to complete graduation in May. And this year optional is the ACT or SAT scores. We encourage you to still submit those if you have them. It does not affect your admission to the Mansfield campus, but we do use them after admission for your orientation when it comes to your placement testing. Overall, the priority deadlines for Mansfield campus is going to be February 1st. We will talk about that later as it relates to financial aid and why you want to have your application in by then. And you can see that at apply.osu.edu. If you have applied to the Columbus campus or thinking about that, we'll give you some information about that decision information. As you just heard me say, if you are a resident of Ohio, you're guaranteed admission. That may not be at the Columbus campus. So decisions, if you have completed your Common App, complete Common App application by November 15th, decisions will be released by December 11th and guaranteed by January 29th. Those decisions may be accepted to the Columbus campus, deferred for a later consideration in March, or optioned to the regional campuses. And that campus would be the closest campus to where you live or to that second choice campus that you put on your application. If along this process at any time you decide you want to commit to the Mansfield campus instead, please give us a call. We'll have our contact information later and we're more than happy to change that on your application. The following other application deadlines you see there as well, if you applied later by the February 1st deadline, February 19th and March 26th. So as we're talking about that being a student on campus and looking at the costs, we like to share with you the costs that are across the campuses that we have. We will focus here on the regional campus costs, but to point out that the tuition and fees and room and board are combined for the Columbus campus. Because for the first 2 years upon graduation, you are required to live on campus. So that's why those are included. For us at the regional campuses, since you are not required to live on campus, we show the tuition price of this year's students have paying a little over $8,000 at $8,237 for the year. That's 2 semesters. If you would like to live on campus and add the room and board to that, you can average about $8,000 to $9,000 additional for the year, adding our cost to about $17,000, $18,000 for the year for our students. And that is a savings. We do have approximately about $3,000 to $4,000 savings for the regional campuses. You do see indirect costs are just a little bit higher. That will be because you may be commuting from home. You may be living off campus, so you have those higher transportation costs. These are the costs you will see when you complete your free application for federal student aid or FAFSA. If you heard me say that tuition's only $8,000 and then you see on the FAFSA it says it's really going to cost about $18,000 to $25,000 to attend campus, it may cause you to question that. And that's what it is. It's including those indirect costs that you would have. You can always look at that website at the bottom, undergrad.osu.edu/costs for more in-depth analysis of the numbers and the cost of really that value of attending the Ohio State campuses. So talking about that FAFSA, that free application for federal student aid, this is a really important piece. If you are inclined to complete the FAFSA, is not a requirement, but we do recommend it because it may allow you to receive some aid or allow you to be eligible for some scholarships if it requires a need requirement. Priority filing date for Ohio State University is February 1st. You must complete the FAFSA by February 1st, and you must have an application for admission on file by February 1st. If you have your FAFSA completed, but not an application, we don't know you exist in the system. So we need to make sure that they exist together. So keep that in mind. Here for the financial aid programs, we have our tuition guarantee that the costs stay flat for 4 years. So students who entered Mansfield campus this past fall in 2020, if they would transition to Columbus campus in 2022, they will pay the Columbus 2020 price. So that is the housing and also tuition costs stay flat. President's Affordability Grant, again, based on the FAFSA and the needed, up to $2,500 allowed. And if you qualify for the Pell Grant, this is an amazing opportunity for our students, the Buckeye Opportunity Program. Starting the 2nd semester of your enrollment, so in the spring if you're starting in August, and you qualify for the Pell Grant and you've completed all the requirements, which is meeting the deadlines, if you have, let's say, $1,000 gap between the grants and aid that you received, and you still have $1,000 left on your tuition bill, Ohio State will take care of that. So this is why it is so important to meet these deadlines, that you may not have a tuition bill if you meet these deadlines and these programs. Alumni Scholarship Program, a phenomenal way for our students to receive scholarships from our local alumni club. We have a very strong program here in Richland County and also Ashland County, and there's scholarships here for our students. And we're very proud to say many of our students have received scholarships, but what you need to do is to apply. Right? If you don't apply, you're guaranteed no money. So we want you to apply. Go to that go.osu.edu/ASP-app. Make sure you complete that application, and you will then go into the consideration for these applications. Please, again, get that completed by February 1st. Take a screenshot of this, for these are some of those deadlines that are upcoming. We are past the November 15th deadline, and now the next major deadline will be that February 1st for FAFSA and also applications if going for Columbus. And again, you really do want to get your financial aid completed by the 1st and an application for admission even to the regional campuses. If you should miss that February 1st deadline, you can still apply. You can still apply up until June 1st. So just work with us on that so we can make sure we get you the most opportunities as possible. Connect with us. Many of you may have already seen these pages because you registered for this event. So can see a virtual campus tour. You can also come drive through campus if you would like and see campus for yourself, but you can also see it virtually. We're uploading some new guided virtual tours by one of our current students to YouTube. So make sure you check that out as well. Keep up on our social media pages. And then also our Mansfield 101 guide, our overview for 2021, is a great resource for our students. As we move forward to the spring, we will not be having in-person events at this time. In the interest of keeping all of our future Buckeyes healthy and safe, they will be virtual events. So please continue to look for future events that we may be having as well. And then our contact information. If you have further questions or some specific about financial aid, please feel free to give us a call. You can also email us at Mansfield Ask a Buckeye. We'd be more than happy to direct your calls, answer any questions we possibly can about your future experience as a first-year student. All right, I am very proud to turn this over now to Mrs. Amber Rader, lecturer in engineering technology, as she goes into more in-depth information about the program and what you would be doing as a student on our campus.
There we go. Thanks, Jennifer. My name is Amber Rader, and I'm going to talk to you about the bachelor's degree in engineering technology that we have here, otherwise known as BSET. A little background about myself. I'm an electrical engineer. I worked for over 20 years in different facets of manufacturing, product development. I even worked in information services. And because of all the different experiences that I've had, it makes me even more excited about what we're putting into this program. I think you're going to really like it. So tonight we're going to start by talking about the background of this BSET program. I'm going to give you an overview. I'll talk about the objectives of the program. I'm going to give you an overview of the coursework that you can expect over the next 4 years if you decide to join this program. I'm going to talk a little about the benefits of the regional campus program. Jennifer already hit on a few of the highlights there. And then at the end, I think one of the things that hopefully you will find interesting is the fact that we have current BSET students, we have some faculty present, and we have some industry supporters here tonight to talk about this program. I find this interesting. On the bottom of this slide, the center picture and the one on the right are actually BSET students on the Marion campus. This was their mechanical processes class this fall. They were actually learning to operate lathes. So these are real life pictures from the program. Okay, so why did this program start? A number of years ago, I believe the dean, Norman Jones, of the Mansfield campus was looking at the fact that we have a lot of engineering students who come in and they take a year of class and then they transfer to Columbus into the engineering programs. And we know that from experience that companies are looking for high-skilled engineers. And we also know, especially in our region, that manufacturing is there's a lot of manufacturing in our area. And in fact, it's the leading private employment sector in Ohio is all in manufacturing. So how can we meet some of these needs? On top of which, when we surveyed some of these industry partners, we found that the Industry 4.0 technologies are something that employers are looking for. Things like robotics and automation, 3D printing, and cybersecurity are just a few of them. The statistics show that Ohio has over 700,000 existing manufacturing jobs currently filled by workers, which is more than 1 out of every 10 workers in the state of Ohio. So this is a huge percentage. And the number of skilled workers that we will need by the year 2025, so 5 years from now, it's in the tens of thousands just in Ohio. So they decided to put together, as a result, this new degree. It's a 4-year degree. It's offered by the College of Engineering, but it's only offered at the regional campuses. And so it's called the Bachelor of Science in Engineering Technology, hence the BSET that I keep referring to. It's actually right now only available at Marion and Lima and Mansfield. I think eventually they're hoping to get it at the other campuses as well. So the idea behind these grads that come out of the BSET program is that they're going to lead organizations with their expertise, they're going to have technical skills, and they're going to have business skills. So it's a little different than a traditional engineer. The difference being We're going to focus on manufacturing leadership roles. We're going to talk about practical, applied, and hands-on approaches as opposed to theory in engineering. And we're also going to prepare our graduates for a wider range of careers and a wider range of industries that are still well paid. So in order to do that, we have to teach a broad skill set to these students, but the concentration is still in manufacturing. But we want these students to know about mechanical engineering. We want them to know about electrical engineering and industrial engineering. And then we also want them to learn how to be leaders. So we want to teach them things like project management, quality management, business principles, and primarily things like communication and teamwork that a lot of students are lacking. And we want these students to come out of this program competent in those areas. So this little pillar diagram on this slide talks about the 4 pillars in this program being hands-on engineering, that we're connected to local industry, that we are focused on value creation, and that our students are effective communicators. So this slide has a lot on it, but you might be asking yourself, so what kind of roles could I play with this degree? And quite frankly, things like being a manufacturing engineer, a manager, or a frontline leader, these are the kinds of things that you would be preparing for. Another big area of need that we would be preparing you for would be for something called process engineering or quality engineering, automation engineering, and some research has shown that after 3 to 5 years in these roles, you could be earning between $80,000 and $87,000 a year. So it's a good paying career to pursue. So in the upper right hand side of this screen, we have kind of a comparison of a Bachelor of Science in Engineering versus a Bachelor of Science in Engineering Technology. And the primary differences have to do with whether we're looking at theory versus application. And there is a big difference between learning theory and learning how to apply it, learning the concepts and learning how to, the practical application of it. And so what we're trying to focus on is how to, how to deal with time critical projects that might need to be done in 3 months versus a 2-year research R&D project. There is a difference between a theory-based engineering program and a technology-based engineering program. And you can see that from the diagram at the bottom, first of all, ABET. If you don't know what ABET means, it's the Accreditation Board for Engineering and Technology, and we have one of our faculty here who's going to talk about this in a little bit as part of her panel. But you want to go to a school that has an ABET accredited program, and we will be there, and she'll explain that to you. But also, if you look at there's a lot of overlapping areas. The dark orange color is the overlapping areas between an engineering education and an engineering technology education. But if you look farther to the right, in the light colored orange under engineering, there's a lot of theoretical research and complex design analysis. We're saying we want to focus more on the other side of the spectrum, where we're looking at operations, service, and maintenance. We're looking at production engineering and manufacturing. And so those are there's definite overlap, but then there's some areas where we're really departing from the traditional engineering program. So I have a video here I'd like to play. We'll see if I can get it to work, and hopefully everyone can hear.
The engineering technology program at Ohio State is developing their engineers to be leaders and future managers to lead the next generation of engineers.
Next Generation Films is a blown films manufacturer who provides many of the plastic films that you'll see in your everyday life. My position here at Next Generation Films is I work in our R&D department, so we're taking different films across the industry and seeing how we can improve on that, maybe make it a little bit cheaper or better, so we're seeing how we can constantly improve the industry. So today an OSU student came to visit us and we were able to look at the entire process of the blown film manufacturing, so we looked at that entire process from start to finish.
My experience today at NextGen was very interesting. I got to see how plastic little pellets form into giant film for other companies.
The Ohio Engineering Technology program is really crucial for students to be able to give them a good path of what things will look like in industry, but it also gets the students a really good mindset of what things will look like for them in the future.
The Ohio State Engineering Technology degree will help me in my career because it will give me more of a hands-on experience and learn management skills that I would not get from any other program. By having a more hands-on experience, it's going to prepare me better for real-world applications when a line goes down, or for next gen, if a film's not running right or the film isn't cutting right, and how to improve processes better.
I think the manufacturing environment for future students is really strong right now. You know, we're seeing a big importance on producing things within the states and having that done here at home. So I think the business is really going to take off.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to this POP webinar. My name's Phil Tooley. I'm a member of the POP team at NAG, who are one of the commercial...
Okay. That's funny. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So when we created this program, we had to tie the goals of this program to ABET in order to be accredited. And so there's 4 main goals in this program. Each goal has 4 outcomes, and each outcome has 5 to 8 proficiencies. And what we're doing when we're designing these courses is we're making sure that we are covering all the outcomes, all the goals, all the proficiencies with all the courses in this program. And so the main goals being that we want you to be effective at systems thinking and problem solving. We want students to be good communicators in the modern workplace. We want them to understand business terminology, which is what a lot of engineers come out not knowing. I know I didn't. And we want them to be able to communicate within the business. And then finally, really, it's important to be able to understand and optimize processes for continuous improvement. So these are the main goals of this program. We believe that the students will benefit because we are having a hands-on approach to learning. We are taking students on tours, and I think some of our industry folks can talk about that here in a minute. We're developing relationships with mentors early on, and in terms of the actual curriculum, we're trying to integrate the courses. So it's no longer you take Calculus 2 and Calculus 2 is for everyone and everyone learns the same thing whether you might ever use it again or not. We're actually integrating into our Calculus 2 things that you would need to know in engineering technology, and the same thing goes for physics and chemistry. So we're trying to put real world problems into our courses. So here is what a 4-year plan might look like for a student in this program. So you would start out in the fall by taking a class that I'm teaching right now. It's Intro to Engineering Technology. So anything here on this schedule that says ENGRTEC, those are engineering technology classes that are specifically developed for this degree. Anything that says general education is going to be something like an English class or psychology or art history, the kinds of things that make you a well-rounded individual. So there is a first year of fundamentals engineering class, 1181, and then there's 1181 in the spring, or 1182 in the spring. And these are courses that anyone entering the engineering curriculum at Ohio State would take, which is why I was saying this. We get a lot of engineering majors for the first year, and then they transfer to Columbus. So they take these 2 fundamental courses. There's also Math 1151 and Math 1172 are essentially Calculus 1 and Calculus 2 for engineers. And what we've done is we've gone in and changed these courses and basically developed new courses, 1154 and 1155, which are essentially engineering calculus. So more designed for a student in engineering technology as opposed to an engineer who might do anything. We've also got 2 physics courses, one of which was specifically designed for this degree as well. Into your, in terms of manufacturing, we have the first 2 semesters are where you learn manufacturing processes. Those were some of those pictures of the students in Marion learning some manufacturing processes. So you have 2 courses there. And then the second year, at the end of the second year, you take some computer science. So that's what CSE stands for, computer science and engineering courses. One of them has to do with Excel and databases, which is something that I used a lot as an engineer. And the other one is a C++ programming course. And then we start you into some business classes, because those are the kinds of things that we also want engineers to know, is have some business tools in their tool belt. There is one chemistry class, which I don't know how you could be an engineer without knowing some chemistry. The third year, we start into the different kinds of engineering, like electrical engineering. So there's a basic AC and DC circuits class. We're also talking about material science, which I'm sure people from like NextGen would be happy that we're including material science into this program. It's very important. We also are going to teach them some project management. So right out of the PMBOK manual, we'll be teaching project management. Applications and quality is a stats course. So if you ever took statistics, statistics is something that you don't realize you're going to need, and you probably didn't pay enough attention when you did. As an engineer, you find out that it's also necessary. And I will say that this summer when we were developing this course, the fellows that were developing were trying very hard to pull in industry examples into the course so that they actually see the relevance of why they're learning those statistics. So we've got some electrical engineering going on in the autumn of year 3, and then we move on to some mechanical engineering in the spring, and then some industrial engineering. We're looking at PLCs, which is very common in factories and in manufacturing environments. In fact, then we move into another automation in PLCs in the fall of year 4. So we do quite a bit of that. And then even in the final spring semester, we're looking at some robotics. We're also doing some more with business management in the spring of year 3. Things like in industrial safety and ergonomics, those are also important. In year 4, we're looking at things like change management, and we're looking at options like Six Sigma. And it's interesting because one of the first assignments that I have my students do in the engineering technology intro class is I have them go out to a job website like Indeed or something like that, and look for a job that they think, an engineering job that they think sounds interesting, and then look at some of the requirements to get that job. And then they essentially do like a gap analysis. All right, what do I know and what do I not know? What things do I need to learn in the next 4 years so that I could apply for that job? And almost all of them said Six Sigma. And most of the students, when they gave their presentation, said, and it says I need Six Sigma, but I have no idea what that means. And I didn't either. Actually, Six Sigma is basically just techniques and tools for process improvement. And the interesting thing is it was invented, developed, whatever, in 1986, but it wasn't until 1995 that it really became prevalent. And I went to work at GE in 2000, and that was one of the first things they did, is send me to Six Sigma training. And so we are putting this in the program so that employers don't have to do that. They're going to come out ready with that knowledge. And then we are even going to in their last semester, have them do a project so they can become a green belt, which is, there's green belts, black belts, different levels, kind of like karate in the Six Sigma program. So that's kind of an overview of a lot of the courses. I forgot to mention too, in autumn of year 2, there's this engineering graphics, which is CAD. So if you want to know computer aided design, that's essentially what that course is. So we already went through some of the advantages, one being that there's no application of the major required. If you want to do engineering of Columbus, you have to apply and get accepted into that engineering major. As Jennifer pointed out, housing is convenient. If maybe you want to go off to college because you don't want to live at home anymore, and I understand that. I have an 18-year-old myself, and he, you know, the idea of being able to live in some campus housing but still being close to home can be a good idea. And you can walk to both of them. Both of them are close, Moliette and Buckeye Village. As Jennifer also pointed out, we have a really good faculty to student ratio. And you might see that as a bonus for students, is also a bonus for us faculty, because, you know, when I went to Columbus campus in engineering, you'd walk into a lecture hall of 300 people. And as a student, I felt like a number. On the Mansfield campus, if I have, you know, if I were in the Columbus campus and I had 300 students and I had 100 students who were struggling, I'm not going to be able to reach out to all 100 of those students. But in Mansfield, if I have 20 students and I have 2 students who are struggling, it's very easy to reach out and help students that need help. Again, tuition is lower here. Also, one of the main advantages of having these programs at the regional campuses is that we are co-located conveniently with NC State. And NC State has the Kehoe Center, which has state-of-the-art labs. And this is just one picture that I pulled out of one of the many labs that are at NC State that allow us access to machines and equipment and a lot of the things that we would use to teach in these classes that we wouldn't otherwise have access to. Also, one of the advantages is that we are forming connections early with local industries. In fact, this fall, we formed connections with 5 companies that are local here. And so Charter Next Generation, if you're local, you know it as Next Generation Films. In fact, the video even called it that, although they just recently got a new name. Gorman Rupp, Mansfield Engineered Components, Michael Byrne, and Cooper Enterprises all have volunteered to work with my students. And I think they've really had a good experience with that. The other thing is we're embedding at least the Six Sigma Green Belt certification into this program, possibly more. And we're really focused on getting internships for our students. In fact, my students could probably tell you, I've walked into class before and held up my phone and said, hey, you know, Indeed has you know, an internship available next semester. If anybody wants to work instead of come to school, let me know, I'll talk to you more about it. So we are trying to really hard to get these students some real life experience before they graduate. Okay, so at this time, I'd like to move to the panels. I'd like to start with my current student panel and then move on to the faculty that are present on this presentation. And finally, I would like to talk to the industry partners that are part of the panel. So the first group of people that I want you to talk to are the current Mansfield students. These are all students in my class, and they have graciously given their time to talk to other students about their experience so far. And so I'd like to start by just going down the list. If each student could introduce yourself and possibly just say like maybe where you're from or what high school you went to and any pertinent background. I'm pretty sure all of you are from a different high school, and I think I had one student who couldn't come, but he was part of the College Now program. who came into this from there after graduating from that program. So if you could just each take your turn and in order and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good evening. My name's Seth Cramblett, and I'm from Coshocton County, about an hour and a half from Mansfield. I'm a junior in the program. I'm a transfer student, and I'm a former Marine.
Thank you. Jared?
Yeah, I'm Jared Kaiser. I'm from Lexington High School. I'm currently a sophomore in the engineering program, and I was at Columbus campus, but I transferred back to Mansfield campus.
Great. Josh, were you able to join? I think he was struggling with getting in. Bummer. Okay, Jay, you want to go next?
Yeah. So I'm Jay. I'm from Clear Fork High School, and I'm a sophomore in the program as well. And yeah, I really enjoy it.
Okay, excellent. So if you guys are willing, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. And if you could just give honest answers for the folks who are watching, we would appreciate it. So I guess I'll start with you, Jay, since you were just talking. Why did you choose this program?
So I chose this program because I enjoy the hands-on activities, and I like the broad range that it gives us to go into the workforce. I feel like that you're just more better prepared, I guess, for a variety of jobs. So that's why I chose it.
Okay, great. Seth, would you like to answer that as well?
Yeah, so I chose this program because my current employer, I work for a specialty chemical manufacturer, and they kind of suggested the program to me. And so far, the program really kind of teaches you how to be a process engineer. And that's kind of what my place of employment is really looking for: process safety and process improvement implementation.
Okay,
And,
so, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, you go.
So as of right now, what kind of job are you hoping to get after you graduate?
Somewhere in the engineering department, but specifically, I would like to be a process engineer because they deal with more of the practical application and kind of starting up the new processes and making sure everything's running how it should be and safely.
Excellent. Okay, let's see, Jared, could I ask you some questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Jared, did you consider an engineering degree in Columbus, and if so, which one?
Excuse me. Yeah, I actually started in Columbus pursuing the computer science engineering degree and decided that that really wasn't for me. I didn't necessarily like the big city of Columbus and didn't like just the hugeness of the Columbus campus.
Okay, so what do you feel is the biggest advantage of getting your degree here in Mansfield?
The biggest advantage for me is definitely cost. With all of my scholarships down in Columbus, I was still paying, 3 times more what I'm paying here at Mansfield campus full price. So that was a huge advantage for me. And another advantage is just being able to live at home and have my own space.
Okay. Would anyone like to offer what's the most interesting thing that you have learned in class so far? Jay, would you like to answer that one?
I just think the most interesting thing is getting to go tour the local companies. I was in the group that toured Next and I really enjoyed that, getting to go in and see the factory environment. Thought that was really cool.
Awesome. Anybody else want to offer anything? Okay. All right. Well, thank you for joining, guys. If you could stay on, if the students have questions.
Miss Rader, I'm
yeah.
here now.
Oh,
Sorry.
hi, Josh.
I was stuck in the other lobby.
I'm glad you could join.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Josh, would you like to introduce yourself and just tell us like where you went to school and if you have any kind of background you want to mention?
Yeah, I went to Ontario High School. I graduated in 2005. I joined the Marine Corps and I was in for 12 years. And then after I got out, I decided I needed to further my education and started going to OSU. Okay.
So what kind of job are you looking for?
I really want to get a job in additive manufacturing, 3D printing, metal. That's something that really interests me and it kind of aligns with the field for this major too.
Okay, so did you consider going to Columbus by chance?
I did. When I first started at OSU, I was going for computer science and engineering.
Okay.
That's a pretty tough, challenging field to get into also. So I decided this was more along the lines of what I wanted to do in the end anyway. So I switched.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you for joining. If you guys could stay on until we're done with the other two panels, that way in case our potential students have any questions specifically for you guys, they could ask them. So thank you. Okay, so the next panel that I have consists of some of the faculty right here in Mansfield. I have Professor Lee, who is the program coordinator for the first year engineering program. And then I have Professor Swihart, who is a mathematical genius. So would you guys like to introduce yourselves and just tell me a little bit, tell everyone here a little bit about your background?
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Wenfei Li. I'm a PhD in aerospace engineering, and I'm teaching fundamentals of engineering courses at Mansfield campus. These two course sequence, Engineering 1181 and 1182, are also required courses for the BSET students. They learn the necessary knowledge of engineering fundamentals in the class. And these courses will help students develop the skills and behaviors required of a professional engineer in the future. Thank you.
Excellent. Professor Swihart?
Hi, I'm Stephen Swihart, and I teach math here at Mansfield campus. My undergrad degrees were in math and physics, so I'm familiar with some of the things from this program, although I can learn a lot more engineering still. And my graduate degree is just in math. But yeah, I teach all levels of math here, from algebra to calculus and even beyond, linear algebra, differential equations and stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything.
Yeah, that's enough. So Professor Swihart, what kind of real world applications have you or are you planning to include in the math courses that you teach?
For Math 1154 and 1155, which are the new BSET sequence, most of the real world applications I have so far are physics related. That's what I'm most familiar with outside of math, including like position, velocity, acceleration, forces, and their relationships, but also like simple pendula, damp springs, RLC circuits, things that use differential equations. I do have some engineering and business related problems like optimization problems, minimizing cost, maximizing volume, subject to given constraints, planning resource and labor allocation between facilities or products using linear programming. I've got some problems like those. And I will be meeting with local industry to solicit examples of how they've used calculus and other math in their work. I'm always looking to create additional exercises and assignments around these applications. And I've also asked students currently in Math 1154 to let me know if there are any math methods that they need in their other classes or applications from their other classes that we can fold into the 1154, 1155 sequence. I'm sure I've erred on the theoretical side in some sections. You can ask Jay. but I'm working to refine the courses to make them as applied and useful as possible to you.
Well, and I know that you coordinated with the physics professors so that you're teaching like certain concepts that they'll need in physics kind of at the same time. Is that correct?
Yeah, we tried to align well with the physics class, teach vectors when they're starting with vectors, teach like circular motion and harmonic motion when they're dealing with that type of stuff. Yeah, so we tried to align it as well as we could with the physics classes while still covering all the material that we need to.
Yeah, and folks, this is not the kind of coordination that you're going to see in Columbus, you know. So I think this is really something, and I can say that because I went to Columbus. So I think this is amazing. Professor Lee, can you talk about some of the benefits that you feel a student has here at Mansfield over going to Columbus?
So first thing I think we mentioned a few times already in the beginning, we have small class size and we have the feel of the community environment. So students can feel faculty and staff member know you by your name. So I have a smaller class compared to Columbus. The courses I'm teaching compared to Columbus has 72 students in one class for one professor and the TAs. And here I have a much smaller size. So I know my students, I can reach out to them if they are struggling in my course. And also on a small campus, even though we are small, we have a lot of amenities on campus, different organizations, galleries, performance, and we have our bucket tradition. So I think there are so many nice things in our small Mansfield campus, and we have a nice view here as well.
Yeah, and you are actually one of the people who's working on the ABET accreditation process, correct?
Yes.
Would you like to just briefly talk about that for a second?
Sure. So the ABET, as Amber mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, it represents the accreditation board for engineering and technology. And this is a nonprofit organization which accredits college and university programs in applied science, computing, engineering, and technology. And the ABET has 4 accreditation commissions. And for our BSET degree, will be accredited by the ETAC, which is called Engine Technology Commission. So our BSET program has a concentration in manufacturing. Therefore, this program must satisfy both the ABET's general criteria and also specific program criteria from manufacturing engine technology. So with this ABET accreditation, students, faculty, employers, and the community can be confident that this program meets the profession standards and produces quality engineers for future workforce. So OSU will be seeking the initial ABET accreditation for the BSET program as soon as at least one graduate student. We have one successful graduate student, which will be 4 years from now. Then it will take another 18 months for the ABET accreditation process. So as the first cohort of the BSET students on our campus, ABET will retroactively accredit your degree once the BSET program is accredited. So don't worry, you will be accredited. We're working very hard to collect information to satisfy all the criteria. We design the courses and we evaluate student learning outcomes every semester.
Yes, and Professor Lee is one of the people who is making sure we cross all the T's and dot all the I's, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so if you have questions for either of these professors or myself, if you could either send them in the chat and Jennifer will address them in the end. But lastly, and certainly not least, is some of the industry supporters that have agreed to be on this call tonight. And we thank you so much for what you have already done. And the majority of you have been mentors already to some of the students that you've seen tonight. So I'd like to start by, if you could go down the list here in no particular order and introduce yourself. Hopefully I got your titles right in this slide, and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm John Stevens, and as it says here, I work at the Gorman-Rupp Company and serve as the manufacturing manager at Gorman-Rupp. Gorman-Rupp is a leader in the pumping industry and has 86-year history here in Mansfield with a global footprint now.
Awesome. Leslie?
So my name is Leslie Wiest. I'm the Vice President of Operations at Michael Byrne Manufacturing. We're a small manufacturing company that makes underground tunneling equipment for the construction industry. And we're located out by the airport in Mansfield.
Thank you. Steve?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Steve Cummins. My brother and I are third generation manufacturers. We operate Mansfield Engineered Components. We really have two key parts of our business that keep us up and running. First is our product engineering, and second is process engineering. You'll hear from Nick in a second, and he heads our process engineering. Most of what we design and manufacture are, would call them hinges, but they're not the kind of hinge that's on your door. They're much more complex. They for the most part, are for major appliance. So we're working with Whirlpool, GE, Electrolux, and companies like that, who need really tightly toleranced products delivered on time and to very tight pricing requirements.
I'm Nick Harvey from Mansfield Engineered Components. As Steve mentioned, I'm the manufacturing engineering manager. I'm on the process side of the company and help to keep that running.
Hi, I'm Veronica Ammer. I'm a development engineer at Charter Next Generation. We make all sorts of flexible packaging, like the bags and cereal boxes, bath tissue overwrap, some industrial grade boat overwrap, for example, as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you, all of you, for joining me tonight. So I'm going to do kind of like I did with the students and the faculty, is ask maybe you some questions, and maybe you can give us some information. Maybe I could start with you, Nick. What's your first impression of the students that you've mentored in the program?
So my group of students, they are very eager, asking lots of questions. I think what really kicked it off for them was when we did the facility tour. We were walking around the various departments: design engineering, manufacturing engineering, quality, tool and die. And when we started seeing real life applications and what they could do, you could see the gears turning, and it was exciting to see their eyes light up and be like, whoa, it's something I could do in the future. I told them you're going to have to buckle down and do your work at school, but at the end, this is something you could do. And talk to them about opportunities, and different ways to get to those different opportunities. So I think overall, all my students had a good time, learning everything, and it's really got them thinking about their future.
Yeah, excellent. And you had 4 students in your group, correct?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, okay. John, I think you also had 4 students that you were mentoring. Would you like to talk about your first impression with your students, or?
Sure. Yeah, I had the pleasure of working with 4 extremely engaging students. The students came into the meetings with a thought out and well-planned agenda. They had prepared several questions, usually with a focal point for the meeting. They listened intently. They fed back questions and ideas back into the conversations that we had. Each student presented themselves at a highly professional level with a business approach in each meeting. We did have some fun as well, and got to know them on the personal side a little bit, which I appreciated. But their questions really for the industry and things was very engaging, and I learned a lot from them, through the meetings as well. So I really appreciate their input and their outlook, as far as how manufacturing and their approach as well, and things they're learning that they shared in our meetings.
So what advantages do you see in hiring one of these engineering technology graduates over a non-technology graduate?
Yeah, from my most recent experience, I have seen the professionalism these students convey. alongside a solid business acumen. They have been given the hands-on opportunities to experience manufacturing through their own lens and engage with their own ideas. I would view a student from this program as a candidate with not only the educational experience, but the technical aptitude to know and understand the required responsibilities. The students will have taken part in industrial decision-making, time studies, data analysis, and other key manufacturing processes, which will allow them and make them more marketable for a large number of roles. A general engineering student may have some, but not all these opportunities to engage in the industrial market, thus setting the engineering technology graduate apart from other concentrations, I believe.
Yeah, I would agree. I guess, Steve, could I ask you, just because you are a vice president, I mean, do you anticipate a need for students with this degree at your company?
Yes, we have a need. We'll continue to have a need. If I could share, in addition to our company, I serve along with John on the board of the Regional Manufacturing Coalition. And from time to time, we'll get inquiries from members who are looking for hires in the engineering technology fields. And one of our first reactions is always a chuckle and good luck, because those folks are so hard to find. There's a shortage of people in that field. For a number of years now, things like Industry 4.0 were sort of a concept, an idea that was coming down the pike, but it's here now, whether it's automation or additive manufacturing. It's very much arrived at a doorstep, and we need folks who have an understanding of, and not just not to sell the theory short, but we really need people who understand the practical application of engineering technology, not just folks with book smart. We need folks that have had their hands, gotten their hands dirty and experienced engineering technology, not just studied it. So yeah, the need exists for sure. And if I could also mention, while my 20s are a distant memory, I totally get the desire to see other places, and know everybody wants to go to the big city, and I get that, but there are a lot of opportunities locally. So for folks who either have had that, been there, done that, seen the big city, and guess what, I like my hometown, this is where I want to be, those opportunities do exist locally. You don't have to move to the big city to find those opportunities. There's a lot to be said for our area, and the ability to find very good gainful employment in the engineering technology fields. It exists, and it will for a long time.
Yeah, Steve, I appreciate that comment. I was one of those folks. I mean, I when I turned 18, I was going to move away and never come back.
Yep.
And guess what? I realized it wasn't so bad a place after all. Thank you. I appreciate that perspective. Leslie, I don't think I've asked you anything yet. I am curious, and you indicated that you work at a small company. How likely are you to hire students from this program for either part-time work or internships, based on what you've seen so far?
Yep, so we are a small company. We only have about 30 full-time employees, but right now we actually have 2 internships with engineering students, and we actually were talking about it today of, do we need another one, because they've been so helpful, and it's definitely something that we always will need and we could see growing. I think what we've seen from the students that we have had is that they're hardworking, they're very eager to learn, they're very good at learning, and they also present new ideas that maybe we haven't thought about, because we're still maybe in our little box, but they've been, in class, or they've seen other things from other manufacturers. So I would say we're very likely to hire a student.
That's good to know. I think it was probably some of the most valuable experiences I had as an engineering major, was being able to work at co-ops and internships with different companies and find out what I liked, what I didn't like. And yeah, that's excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, I would say also the that you guys are, really push the industry experience in this program is so great, because that truly is where you learn so much and what is going to get you, the job first once you're getting out of college, and help you be successful once you get that first job. So I think that's really great that you encourage it so much.
Yeah, I think it is too. I really do. I'm excited. Veronica, I didn't mean to leave you out. I just realized I haven't asked you any questions. So could you tell us what your background is? You're a development engineer. What is your actual degree?
I have a bachelor's in chemical engineering from Ohio University.
Okay. So I guess my question for you is, like, I'm assuming that you saw the slide where we talked about the coursework that this program offers. How do you feel that the coursework that we put into this program will align to some of the needs that Charter Next Generation has?
I think they'll align really great. What especially stood out to me, of course, was the material science with application course. And I just think that so much of the theoretical knowledge I learned in my four-year degree is not something I'm necessarily using in my day-to-day. Most of my training and getting an understanding of what manufacturing needs are, I had to get on the job. And so I think coming more from that, continuous improvement, lean manufacturing, a focus on quality standpoint is just definitely incredibly, would almost put you off to a better start, I think, coming in.
Yeah, I would agree. Do any of the industry folks have anything else they would like to add?
If I could just add to something that Leslie touched on, I don't know if the students would necessarily know, or potential students would know, the efforts that the college has gone to, the university has gone to reach out to the industry to make sure that what you guys are teaching is what we need. And that is in fact the case. So it's not just this is what we think we should be teaching. It's what the industry is asking for and what we need.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, your support, the support that we've had from you guys has been amazing. I think most of you know that a lot of places have shut down because of the pandemic. And for the viewers tonight, I want you to know that every single one of these companies here offered a company tour to my students that they were mentoring, and that was huge. I mean, it's one thing to learn in a classroom or to watch a video. It's another thing to actually be in the companies. My students absolutely loved getting tours of your companies. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, well, at this point, this is where the participants, if Jennifer has been keeping tabs on the questions that participants have had, now is your chance to ask them to any of us on the panel specifically, or to Jennifer. Also, if you have any questions, here is the link. I believe the video that I showed is also at this link, this go.osu.edu/BSET. Jennifer, I'm turning it over to you.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody. One of the questions we got is, what do you recommend for students to do outside the classroom to prepare for this field?
I'm wondering if the question is referring to if they're already in the program in addition to being in the program?
I would take it, yes, I would take it that way. Outside of the curriculum and in the classroom.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that our industry partners would probably agree that the most important thing would be to work either part-time or through an internship with a company to get real life experience. It really does make all the difference. And we're really going to push for every one of our students to do that. before they graduate. I actually worked part-time when I was in an undergrad. I worked part-time at a company soldering circuit boards and making connectors, and it was a great experience for me. They eventually moved me upstairs when I became an engineer, so it was a good place to start.
I would have to agree with Amber on that. Having internships or an area of focus in something you're looking to potentially get into in the future, you know, at the end of the day, if you're in a interview and there's two participants and one has an internship and the other one doesn't, you know, most likely that other person with that internship is going to get the job because they can hit the ground running. They have some experience, whatever the case may be.
All right. And what is the flexibility for night classes that we have within the program?
Do you think that's for me, Jennifer?
It could be for you or Wing-Fei, possibly.
Okay. Right now, I don't believe that we have any night classes, and I know that we do have, I would say that probably over half of my students have part-time, if not full-time jobs, and are going to school in this program. In fact, of the students that are on my student panel, I think most of you have jobs. Am I right?
Yes, I work full-time on nights.
Yeah. Who else is on there?
I just recently got a job working at the lab in Columbus as a researcher.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And I work part-time currently, so yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious, and I know that there's another student who actually works for Charter Next Generation. He works nights and goes to school. And so I think that in terms of options for night classes right now, we don't have the enrollment to support night classes. And I'm hoping that down the road, when we get more students enrolled and more interest, that we might be able to open those options up. But right now we don't.
Sure. Next question I have is somebody who is currently a freshman in a mechanical engineering technology program elsewhere. And I can answer the first part, accepting transfer credits and how they are accepted. If you have transfer credits you're planning to bring in, we recommend you go to transferology.com, and that will be able to show you how the credits that you have, how they will be accepted into Ohio State, into the program. And so that will give you a really great idea of how many credits you already have. You will get credit in some way, but this way you know how they will go into required credits. The second part of the question, and I think this could be a mix of some industry plus maybe some academia, is how does mechanical and manufacturing engineering compare?
I have some answer to this question, I think. So basically, mechanical and manufacturing engineering are both involved with product or equipment design and products and design, but they have different focus in the fields. So for mechanical engineers, they design and develop specific types of machines, products. But for manufacturing engineers, they work to improve the process for a range of the products. This is a different concentration for mechanical and manufacturing engineering. Maybe folks in the industrial fields have another perspective to this question.
I'm sorry, were you asking Wen-Fei?
Yeah, I just wonder if folks from the industry have another perspective to answer this question.
Does any of our industry people want to respond to that?
I agree with the comment. I notice at our facility, the mechanical engineers are mostly in design. They're looking at product, they're looking at failure mode analysis, things like this, new products mix and what they can do to maybe save cost and sharpen that a little bit. And then where we have the manufacturing engineers, a lot of times they're out in the floor. They're looking at processes. They're trying to ensure race efficiencies, things like this, fix any and do root cause analysis with any problems they may run into with products on the lines, things like this, to buffer that situation a little bit. So agree with what's been said already.
Yeah, and I think I would like to add too that if you want to sit behind a computer for all day, I think maybe mechanical engineering is a better choice, but I think a manufacturing engineer is going to be out on the floor a lot, interacting with the workers, interacting with the other engineers, possibly even acting as a go-between, between the person who designed the machine and the person using the machine, perhaps. Do you think that is possibly along the right line there, John?
Yes, Amber, I agree with that as well. I think the manufacturing engineers, they relate very closely with the employees and become a go-to for a lot of the employees that are out there on the floor, the associates. They're able to troubleshoot, they're able to answer problems, able to keep the lines flowing, those kind of things.
Yeah.
For any of the engineering, as we're asking about mechanical and manufacturing specifically, and we're also talking about engineering technology, where is the most growth in potential jobs and careers? Is there a specific area that we may be seeing limited growth and development in them?
I don't know if I'm qualified to answer that one, Jennifer.
I just thought if anybody from the industry just in their own areas may have some thoughts or ideas about that.
I'll speak into that a little bit. I think what we're seeing with ISO and these quality standards and things, more and more there's a need for quality engineers. And I think this program would be a feeder to those programs. Also with sourcing today. So a lot of overseas sourcing, now it's coming back, some of the sourcing. There's a lot of movement of product, things like that. So there's a supplier sourcing engineer. I know we've had a difficult time finding someone to fill a slot like that. But there's an array of knowledge they have to have, hands-on experience, understand castings, understand processing, things like this. So in those two fields, I can answer that they're continually growing. And there's more and more opportunities in quality side, sourcing side, things like that, that sometimes people don't think about in the engineering field.
Specific to us, automation is really key, and figuring out how to do things more efficiently, not just how to put them together, but how to make sure they're put together properly, and verified, and in a lot of cases tested. People think, oh, you throw a couple robots together and that's all that's involved in it. It is, Nick's going to laugh at me, but it is so complex. There's so much you have to know to make, to set up proper automation. There's also a lot of talk now with risk mitigation, and this is long before COVID, but large manufacturers, large and small, need to. They're maybe a little bit more careful about risk within the supply chain, and I won't make any claims that everything that's moved to other countries is coming back, but there truly are reshoring efforts, and American manufacturers are realizing we've maybe let a little too much go overseas. And while it's still, what is here now is still vital and large and important, some of that's coming back. And part of what's going to make that part of what will help accelerate and make that successful is smart automation again, it's not just robots, it's having your MRP system communicate with the robots so you know how things are running and uptime and process efficiencies. And there's going to be a really strong need for people with those skills.
Yeah, I think somebody has to figure out how all the pieces fit together and maybe know enough about each piece, even if you're not an expert, but know enough to be able to piece everything together for this automation that you're talking about, which I think is, the other companies that I've talked to have said the same thing. They're trying to automate more. They're wanting to bring in robots to do things, and they're wanting to just automate processes, and trying to find someone who knows how to pull all that together is hard. So I'm hoping we can produce some people who know how to do that for you.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining in this evening. I appreciate and thank our presenters this evening for your great insight and just explaining more about this program and what we have. This is the end of the program at this point. If you have any further questions, please reach out to us. We did record this session and can certainly share it out. If you just send me or that Mansfield Ask a Buckeye, send us a message and we can send it to you as well. So thank you very much and stay healthy.
Thank you.